This is Caitlin, your host of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, where we get no sleep and survive on coffee to watch just one more episode at night. Hello, and welcome back to another episode on the No Sleep for Dramas podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin, and this is the March 2026 wrap up episode. I may have not completed a lot in March, but I still have a lot to talk about in this episode because there are a ton of things I'm looking forward to in April. Am I going to watch any of them in April? I don't know. I said I was going to complete a lot in March, but surprise, surprise, that did not happen. I'm so happy about the months though. I am enjoying what I'm currently watching, but I do need to get stuff off my current watch list. I need to speed this up a little bit. It's always the push and pull of starting new dramas to talk about them, but also getting dramas off your current watch list. And I don't want to be that person that has like 20 something dramas that I'm currently watching because I can never get anything off my current watch list. I would have nothing to talk about in this episode in the first half ever if that was the case. But I definitely need to get some things off my current watch list because I have some dramas on there that I've been watching since January and we are now heading into April, or we're in April once this episode is released. It's difficult sometimes though when you have to watch dramas for podcast episodes and things like that. But I'm so happy where I'm at. My mood and my mental health are at least better this year in 2026 than it was in 2025. I'm trying not to stress or think about numbers or anything, and seems to be working. So, I don't know if we have any other video game players out there, but I am an avid video game player. If I'm not watching dramas, I'm playing video games. They're like my top two hobbies, and I'm an avid Nintendo player. All my consoles are Nintendo. If you don't play video games and don't follow Nintendo, you might not know what I'm about to mention, but if you do, you will definitely know what I'm about to mention. I bought Pokemon Pokopia and it has taken over my life. So that also is eating into my drama watching time because I'm also playing that game and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. If you have never listened to a wrap up episode, these are the episodes I talk about everything I completed in the previous month and then also talk about the dramas I am looking forward to, what I'm excited for in the upcoming month. In this case, everything I completed in March 2026 and everything I'm excited for that is coming up in April 2026. At the very end, if I have some dramas that I'm starting, like older dramas, ones that aren't premiering in April 2026. If I'm starting those for podcast episodes or just plan to start them, I will mention those at the end of the episode. Spoiler alert, I have none of those dramas in this episode, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode. Let's dive right into this episode. I don't know if this is going to be a long episode or not, but I definitely have a lot to talk about. Well, everything I completed in March might sound repetitive because everything I completed in March, I did for a podcast episode. One that you already received in the month of March, and one you will receive in the future on somebody else's podcast episode. Or if you watch the YouTube videos for the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, you will already have heard my review of a drama that I'm going to talk about. This list of things I completed might sound a little repetitive because I did not finish anything outside of what I already was talking about. I guess March was successful in terms of getting podcast episodes out and watching stuff for podcast episodes. I almost did complete another drama before March ended, but I have about 9 hours left of it. That will be finished within the first couple days of April. Let's dive right in. I completed all 5 of the Rurouni Kenshin movies. Spoiler alert, I love them. I rated all of them a 10 out of 10, even though I had some mini critiques about a few of them. You can hear my deep dive and introduction into these movies in a previous podcast episode, which I think I released 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Either way, you will have an episode of that on the podcast already. So I will just list my mini review and not introduce these again. I watched the Rurouni Kenshin movie, which came out about 15 years ago. You can watch it on Netflix. This is a Japanese movie. I can see why everybody is telling me to watch these live adaptations or was telling me to watch these live adaptations. I could nitpick about this movie, like, I didn't particularly care about the characters Kaoru and Yohiko in this movie. I found them actually quite annoying, but I won't because it was a very small critique and didn't fully affect my rating of this movie at all. And even though it was 15 years old and it does show its age, I still think it's a great movie. I couldn't wait to watch the other movies in the franchise once I completed this movie. And I watched the anime in the 90s, and I barely remembered the anime before watching these movies. So it was fun revisiting the characters and the story when I vaguely remembered the anime. Amazing fight scenes. This entire franchise is known for its fight scenes and amazing OST because One OK Rock did the OST or at least the title tracks for all these movies. And I love One OK Rock. Rated the original Rurouni Kenshin a 10 out of 10. As I just said, all the movies will be rated that. The next movie I watched was Rurouni Kenshin Kyoto Inferno. Also can be viewed on Netflix, also rated a 10 out of 10. This movie did seem a bit like a filler movie because the first 3 movies in the franchise was one arc of the story. While it was still a great movie, it definitely was a filler from the first movie to the third movie. Fight scenes were still fantastic. I still love the OSTs. One of the female characters introduced into this movie, my new favorite in the franchise. Seriously though, how did people survive multiple years waiting for the next movie after these movies were released? 10 out of 10 for that one as well. Rurouni Kenshin: The Legend Ends was the third movie I watched and the third in this story arc. The fight scenes in this movie were insane. It was incredible what they did. Great conclusion to the story arc you got in the first 3 movies. I did have some nitpicks about the story. It seemed very fast taking out the bad guy in this one. But again, very minuscule problem, so I still rated it a 10 out of 10. Love the OSTs like I did with every movie. I found that I loved the found family in these movies as well, and I just can't believe it took me so long to watch these movies. Very entertaining. Now, there is multiple different orders you can watch these movies. I watched them in a particular order, but you're going to have to Google. I did not watch them in the order that they were released. I watched them in a different order. You could watch them in the order that they were released. You can Google to see which one you would prefer. I picked a different route on that. Fourth movie in the franchise I watched was Rurouni Kenshin: The Beginning. You can watch this on Netflix, rated a 10 out of 10. I could be nitpicky with this movie and bring down my rating a bit, but I won't. Beautiful story. I loved how it gave a lot of context to the Rurouni Kenshin character because it is a prequel. It was a little slow for me because the fight scenes were not as many in this movie, but also wasn't the focal point of the story like it was in other movies. It built to this ending that had a fantastic fight scene, but that wasn't the emphasis and why you would watch this movie. The romance was the reason for this movie. Beautiful cinematography, like the snow scenes in this movie was fantastic. And of course, One OK Rock's OST was great. This got me even more excited to watch the final movie in the franchise too. And last but not least, the last movie in the franchise, Rurouni Kenshin, the final Japanese movie, Netflix, again, rated this a 10 out of 10. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but this movie was amazing. The final movie in the franchise was amazing, maybe because it came out in like 2021, 2022 versus 15 years ago, but either way, this definitely had my favorite villain in it. The fighting again was just amazing. One OK Rock's OST, memorable. It was a great conclusion to the entire movie series. And I also love that you had a lot of the characters from the previous 4 movies come back and show up in this movie. Highly recommend this entire franchise. If you want to hear my more in-depth analysis of this movie franchise, please go back and listen to that podcast episode. So those are 5 movies I watched in March. And then the only other thing I completed in March was the Chinese drama Coroner's Diary, which I should have completed at least a month ago, if not more. If you want a historical crime Chinese drama with some great chemistry and multiple couples, you should check this out. It is on iQIYI. I rated it a 9 out of 10. I had a few issues with it, but nothing that was atrocious or like really brought down my rating a lot. Some cases were better than others. Many had great twists, though. I didn't think it needed the amount of episodes it had. Usually in this format, when you have a crime format where a case takes 3, 4, 5 episodes and then you move on to the next case. Usually, especially in Chinese dramas, they're 3 to 4 episodes a case. Well, in Coroner's Diary, this was maybe 5, maybe 6. I think they could have shaved off an episode on some of these cases. It didn't need to last that long, thus shaving off some of the episodes at the overall count of the drama. And I also wanted some different endings with some of the villains. Some deserved their ending, others I thought could have been different. But the couples were great. I also wanted a different last episode with the couples. I wish some of their endings were either different or were extended. I like the main couple. I like that they really had no angst with them. They were smart. They paired and worked well together. It seemed like a balanced relationship. It wasn't like one overshadowed the other. Male lead, though, had it bad. Had it real bad. He was smitten immediately, and I love that first scene they had together. If you want to hear my full review of this, you can go and watch my YouTube video review, or you can wait for a podcast episode review that is coming out where I will talk in depth about this at some point in the future. Not on my podcast, but on another podcast. Rating Coroner's Diary a 9 out of 10. And that is everything I completed in March. Yes, not a lot. I almost completed another drama, but we'll talk about that in April. I also dropped a drama in March, one that I probably should have dropped a while ago, maybe even in 2025. It was just sitting on my current watch list. And that is the daily Korean drama, A Graceful Liar. I started this back in 2025 and I just was not watching it. Not because I didn't want to, I just wasn't watching it. And so it was just sitting on my current watch list and I was like, since I'm not watching it, I might as well drop it. It's not like I'm clicking on the next episode. This is one of these like long daily dramas. And usually I try and watch an episode a day. And for some reason, I just have not been doing that. I finally just dropped it because this is going to just sit on my current watch list for the year until I decide to actually watch it. Maybe I'll pick it up again when I'm in the mood for a daily K-drama again. Maybe not. But at this point, I dropped it. So that is everything that I completed in March and also dropped in March. As you can see, I could have done better, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's move on to everything I'm excited for in April. There's a lot. There's a lot. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to watch any of them in April. Added to my plan to watch list. We'll see how my current watch list looks and what I can get off of it in April. I don't know what happened in March and what's going to happen in April in comparison of like my social life and stuff. Like, it's not like I was super busy in March and will not be busy in April. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There are a ton of dramas I'm looking forward to in April, and a lot of dramas have confirmed premiere dates. Might not necessarily have confirmed streaming platforms, but they have a lot of confirmed premiere dates. What's fun about it, though, is that it's not just Korean dramas with confirmed dates. There's a lot of dramas from other countries and a lot of different streaming platforms. I doubt I will get to a lot of them, though, but they're there. We'll figure it out. There's also a few rumored Chinese dramas for April, but not as many as previous months. Still managed to find a few. We'll see if they actually premiere, but we're definitely going to talk about them. First one I'm going to talk about is Sins of Cujo. This is a Japanese drama. It's going to come out on Netflix on April 2nd. This is a crime Japanese drama about a lawyer who handles cases for criminals, obviously, like gangsters, the Yakuza. People, their life is crime, not just someone who made a mistake or a one-off crime thing. But this causes him to be not the most moral lawyer. He's very gray morally. He will do shady things to win and to win for his clients. He's a very gray character himself. At least that's what I get from the trailer. It will have 10 episodes, and apparently all of them will drop on April 2nd. That's the gist I'm getting from what I'm seeing. Why am I excited for this? One reason is it's a crime drama. It's also a crime Japanese drama. I always will appreciate those. I also like some of the actors and actresses in the cast. We have Yagira Yuya. Sorry if I mispronounced that. We have Machida Kaita, of course. You guys know of him. And then we have Ikeda Eliza. I'm probably butchering that name, but she's an actress. You would recognize her if you saw her. All great actors and actresses, so I'm really curious for them in this role. I also like the idea of a morally gray lawyer. It's not a new concept. We've seen them before, but it's always fun to watch them because they're fun and you never know what they're going to do. It's unclear if there's like an overarching mystery with this one, but we'll just have to wait and see. That was Sins of Cujo, and that will be out on Netflix April 2nd. Same day, also on Netflix, we have a Taiwanese drama, which I don't talk about Taiwanese dramas often or enough. I always take the opportunity to talk about them because people should watch more of them. And this one caught my eye. This randomly showed up on my feed on Instagram one day. I was like, what is this trailer? And it was all in Taiwanese. So I didn't know what I was watching, and it took me a while to figure it out. This is Agents from Above. It will air on Netflix, I think 6 episodes, and it will premiere April 2nd. And I think all the episodes will drop on April 2nd, as far as I know. It looks like Netflix had a hand in making this. The budget looks amazing. This is giving the Ghost Bride vibes, and that is a Taiwanese drama on Netflix that aired a couple years ago, maybe like 4 years ago. Great Taiwanese drama, fantasy Taiwanese drama. If you have not seen The Ghost Bride, highly recommend that. Wish we would get a second season because it was fantastic. This is another short fantasy drama, and I don't know much about it, but from what I can tell from the trailer and the information I've gathered, the main character is this spirit medium who supposedly is serving a crown prince. I'm assuming the Crown Prince is from another dimension or something because it's definitely modern day. It's not like it's set in historical Taiwan where there's actually a Crown Prince or anything. I think he's a Crown Prince from like a mythical world. But anyway, the main character is a spirit medium. He somehow, for some reason, has to serve this Crown Prince due to a childhood mistake. And so he has to go around and because he's a spirit medium and solve these supernatural problems that popped up in his human modern world. And by doing this, he meets other people like a college student and a detective who can also see spirits who help him out. I'm assuming there's this big bad problem that eventually comes up. That's all I got from the trailer and the small synopsis MDL has. The CGI in this looks great, looks so good. It sounds cool, it sounds unique, it sounds interesting, sounds different. So I want to check it out. I don't know any of the actors and actresses in it, but that's okay to me. It just sounds like something I will like. That was Agents from Above, and that will air on Netflix. Next up, I had no idea was happening until I made this list for this podcast episode. Apparently, the Korean version Heart Signal is airing its new season in April, and it's going to premiere season 5 on April 14th. Hopefully, it will come to Viki or Cocoa or wherever. If you watch Cocoa on Amazon Prime, it might show up there on April 14th. I am a sucker for this show or this type of show, and I've said that multiple times. If you like things like Offline Love, which was on Netflix, or The Boyfriend, or Heart Pairing, which I think aired earlier this year, you will like Heart Signal. It pretty much has that same concept. Anytime this show airs, whether it's the Chinese version or Korean version, I love it. I'm a sucker for it. I didn't even know there was a season 5 happening. I think the Chinese version is up to like season 8 now or something. People always find it hilarious that I'm obsessed with this show because I'm so particular when it comes to the romance genre, when it comes to dramas. But I don't know what it is, but I'm obsessed with this type of show. I eat it up. I'm addicted to it. I wait for it to end and then I binge it. There's just something about Korean dating shows. I don't know what it is. The panelists in season 5 look interesting and they have changed from the previous seasons I've watched. For example, Suki from the K-pop girl group Billy is on the panel and I love her. as a K-pop idol, but also she's been on other variety shows that I've watched, and she's fun. She's so fun to watch. I'm really interested in seeing her as a panelist for this season. This is the show where they put 10 people in a house, 5 men and 5 women, for a month or so, maybe a month and a half, and they date each other. They go to work, they live their life, but they go on dates. They get to know each other, and they try to find a partner. There's various conclusions to this same setup. The boyfriend is obviously a gay man Japanese show. Heart Pairing was, I think, they weren't just looking for a partner, they were looking for a wife and husband. Like, it had a slightly different I want to say conclusion to the show, but that's not a motive to entering the house. This, they just want to find a boyfriend, girlfriend. It's not like I want to marry. Heart Pairing apparently is I want to get married. I have yet to watch that show. I hear it's good. Anyway, I had no idea season 5 was airing, but apparently that is coming out in April, and I'm so excited. I watched the teaser trailer. There are some good looking people in this season, and they look adorable. Anybody else who's on the heart signal train, be excited for this season for sure. Next up, we have Reverse. This is a Korean drama. It's supposed to premiere April 17th. There is no platform that's airing it as of what I know, at least internationally. This has been a K-drama that's been on my radar for a while. Honestly, I am not even 100% sure this is gonna air in April, even though it says it's gonna air, because it has no new poster, it doesn't have a trailer, but apparently it's gonna premiere April 17th. So if it doesn't premiere, that's on me, but I figured since it has a confirmed premiere date, I guess we're gonna put it in here. This stars Seo Ji-hae and Go Soo. It's a crime Korean drama, as I said. I love both of these actors, and I've talked about this in my anticipated Korean dramas of 2026. So Ji-hae's character lost her parents in a car accident when she was a kid, and apparently how that accident happened made her want to get revenge. And then she's an adult, already wanting to get revenge for the first accident and investigating that somehow, and she gets into a second accident as an adult and develops amnesia. So now she's not only trying to figure out what happened in the second accident, but she also obviously is probably trying to figure out the first accident at the same time. I don't know where Gosu is involved in that, but I'm here for the amnesia trope. I love it so much. I love both these actors. I'm curious how they're going to pair together, if they're going to work together, or if like one of them's a villain. Who knows? It sounds messy. It sounds complicated. Sounds like it might be a good time. Not sure what the other characters are though. So we'll see if this one comes out or if there's a streaming site internationally. I have no idea. It is a little weird that the trailer hasn't come out yet, but it is confirmed for April 17th. So we'll see what happens. The Scarecrow is a Korean drama that is premiering April 20th. Look, I love me a good small town crime mystery, like Beyond Evil, for example, and The Scarecrow is definitely that. It stars Park Hae-soo and Lee Hee-jun. Powerhouses. I mean, powerhouses when it comes to crime Korean dramas. They have been in so many crime Korean dramas. They've collaborated together in at least two crime Korean dramas that I can think of. One being Karma from last year, which is fantastic and everybody should go watch it. If you have not watched that, and you are a crime drama lover, please go watch that right now. Anyway, they are pairing up again in this one. There is no streaming service for this for international viewers. I hope we get it. I'm thinking maybe Vicky will probably pick it up. But Park Hae-soo plays a detective in this small town. The small town has a serial killer. He is apparently forced to work with Lee Hee-jun's character, who he despises for some reason. It is unknown why he despises him, but also is unclear if Lee Hee-jun also hates him. Who knows? This drama is supposed to go over a span of like 30 years. It is supposed to be decades for them to solve this serial killing. And that made me wonder if this was actually based off of a real crime, like the Hwasong serial killer, which many of the Korean crime dramas are based off of, and is an infamous serial killer in Korea's history. So I would not be surprised that it came out later that this was actually based off of that crime, because a lot already are based off of that crime, especially if it's a small town crime drama. which the Hwasong serial killer took place in a small country town. Time period fits as well. This apparently is a drama that takes place in like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, which was the same time period of that serial killer. This drama also is made by ENA Network, which, as I've stated multiple times, is one of my favorite networks in Korea. So I am very excited for this drama, and I hope we get it somewhere. Of course, I'm going to talk about another Korean drama next. That is If Wishes Could Kill. This is an 8-episode Korean drama that's going to air on Netflix. It is made by Netflix. Now, I have said this before, and I will repeat it here. I usually don't watch high school dramas, but if the high school drama has a crime or a horror genre, I am there. And this definitely does, as you can see from the title. This reminds me of a Japanese drama, but I can't for the life of me remember the name. But watching the trailer, I'm like, this reminds me of a Japanese drama I've seen clips of. And I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, this is apparently about a bunch of high school students who get their hands on this mysterious app. And apparently the app grants one wish. And so you make a wish to this app, you record yourself making this wish, and you upload it to the app, and it apparently grants that one wish. But it grants it in a very weird way, where it could backfire on you, or if you are the person who made the video, it twists it and makes you a part of the wish, or you have a consequence of using the app at all. So when the group starts discovering this, either it will backfire on them or they have a consequence of using it at all. They try to escape that fate, and that is what the drama is about. If you like the Korean drama Night Has Come, which is a Korean drama, I think that aired in 2024. It's on Viki. Would highly recommend. I think you would like this one. This drama is apparently an original work. It is not based off of a manga or anything, which also I find very interesting. And it will air on April 24th. Also, most of the cast is somewhat unknown. Like, you do recognize them as support characters or maybe one-offs. I think the most famous person in here is probably Kang Min-na, who you would recognize from multiple Korean dramas. Or maybe Jung Soo-ni, maybe. But Kang Min-na is the person I would recognize. And then the other people you definitely would recognize from various supporting roles that they've done. But what I like about these types of dramas, whether that's Night Has Come or If Wishes Could Kill, is these types of dramas allow new actors to be introduced into the industry or gain momentum when they've been acting for a while. For example, a person that comes to mind that kind of is now more well known is the actor Cha Woo-min. He was very unknown when he came onto the scene, and then he starred in Weak Hero Class 1, which he made a name for himself as like a bully type character. And thus he started playing bully type characters in Study Group, in Night Has Come, in Weak Hero Season 1. And then he branched out into Buried Hearts, Mellow Movie, that type of thing. But I think when he entered Weak Hero Class 1, he was pretty much an unknown. And I think these types of roles, especially when it has a more dark theme, gets you noticed. So a lot of this cast in If Wishes Could Kill, I'm kind of hoping that it will allow these people, these cast members who might only be known for their support roles in romance dramas, to become known in another genre and maybe show off their acting skills in a different way. And it's on Netflix. So we know how much people watch Netflix versus maybe Viki. They might not know Viki exists or something. So we'll see. We'll see if Wishes Could Kill is a good one, but I'm definitely excited to check it out. 2 more that has confirmed premiere dates. The next one seemed interesting to me because I had never heard of it until I saw, I think, a picture of the poster and then realized it was coming to Netflix. So I checked it out and learn more about it. The next drama is a Japanese drama called Straight to Hell. This is coming to Netflix on April 27th. I think it's made by Netflix, but I could be wrong. But this apparently is based off of a true story. It is a biographical period piece that spans like 6 decades from post-war World War II to 6 decades after that. And it apparently follows the life of a very, very famous fortune teller in Japan. It's about this woman. She grew up from poverty after the war, and she started with a bunch of clubs in Ginza. And then for some reason, which I'm curious about, she spins a story where she is this fortune teller and makes TV appearances and starts a phenomenon of her being on TV and radio making predictions for like decades. This character is based off of a real person who did this. And apparently, she dominated the TV screens with these predictions that she did. And she was brutal with these predictions. She would literally say, like, you're gonna die. That's why she's famous, apparently, for it. But she lost everything due to the war and had to restart her life. She hits rock bottom. And then after doing stuff in Ginza, she starts this whole fortune telling thing. I'm so curious about this drama because it's nothing like I'd ever heard of before. And I'm like fascinated that it's actually based off of a real person because the trailer, this woman, the actress who plays this woman, she's scary. She is like a dominant force in this trailer. She is ruthless when it comes to her character. And I'm so curious about this show. And the drama spans the 6 decades of her coming out of poverty, becoming this hostess, and then her rise to this fame and power and the cost of that, both romantically but also in her life in general, and what that looked like and how like seductive it was probably in those nightclubs. But then when you have your face plastered everywhere, I'm sure it's dangerous at some point. So I'm just I'm really curious how this drama will be and like what made this woman so captivating that she's apparently very famous. But that is Straight to Hell, and that will be a Netflix production, and that will air on April 27th. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going to talk about a Korean drama that is confirmed to premiere April 29th on Hulu and Disney Plus, and that is the Korean drama Goldland. I have mentioned this before in my most anticipated Korean dramas of 2026, and it's finally coming out in April. We all know Disney Plus does fantastic crime Korean dramas, so I anticipate this is also going to be a great one. This stars Park Bo Young, who don't think I've ever seen do this genre before, so I'm excited for that. It also stars Kim Sung Chol, and I think he plays a villain in this, and if he does, he will be great. I love him when he plays villains because he does it amazingly. He's so good at playing villains. I'm curious if this will be another karma setup because it seems like every character in this drama is going to be flawed again, but we'll have to wait and see. Again, go watch Karma if you haven't. This is about a woman, Park Bo Young, who works as a security screening agent at a airport, and her boyfriend is a pilot. And somehow she receives this smuggled gold that she keeps and becomes obsessed with. Since she keeps this gold, she ends up getting other people in her life involved in it, and thus bringing like the cops and gangsters and maybe somebody who this gold was originally going to into her life. She brings in trouble into her life that she probably didn't ask for. This looked really good from at least the poster and like the teaser trailer, but I hope they release a new trailer because the teaser trailer didn't mention much about it, but it looked good. It looked good from what I saw. So that is everything that has confirmed dates and maybe a streaming service. We'll see about the ones that I mentioned that didn't. But as I said, lots of variety in genre and streaming service. At least the ones I talked about mostly were crime. Okay, let's get into the rumored Chinese dramas I'm excited for. Looks like April is going to be kind of a break from Chinese drama land. It doesn't seem to have as many rumored for April as they have in the previous months. I think in February there was like 17 rumored dramas. Did we have 17 air in February? No. I think I've seen 8 rumored for April, and some I already mentioned. So they definitely are kind of slowing down, at least for the month of April. Famous last words. Who knows if that's actually going to be the case, though. As I said, there's a couple that are rumored for April that I already mentioned, so I'm not going to repeat those. But if you want to go back to previous episodes and hear me talk about them, I will tell you what they are and what episode you can go and listen to my thoughts about those. We'll see if they actually air in April. I don't know. And then we'll get into some of the other ones I see that are rumored for April. Maybe they'll air or not. Take everything about C-dramas I say with a grain of salt, unless I have a confirmed premiere date. Because as you can see, I'm about to mention 3 that I said are rumored for January, and we are now in April and they haven't aired yet. Okay, the first one I'm going to mention is Rebirth. I mentioned this back in the January wrap-up post. It is now rumored to finally air in April with a rumored premiere date of April 9th. I'm so excited for this. I want this drama so badly. Next one, Born with Luck. I also mentioned in my January wrap-up episode. It is rumored for April 14th. And then lastly, Fate Chooses You, which is the Renjo Loon one. I love him. I will watch him in anything. So, of course, I'm excited for this. Fate Chooses You is rumored for April 24th. And I also mentioned this one in my January wrap up. So, all 3 of these dramas I mentioned 3 months ago, and it is now rumored, or at least a little bit more confirmed rumored for April, with dates at least. So, now we'll move into 3 Chinese dramas that are rumored for April. We do not even have rumored premiere dates for these. So, I don't know if these will actually premiere in April, but I'm going to mention them anyway. Actually, there might be 4 Chinese dramas I'm going to mention. So the first one is, and I kid you not, this title, I laugh every time. The title is Blossom. I kid you not. Rumored for April. I swear, why does everything have Blossom in it? This is a modern Chinese drama, though. Nothing historical about it. I mentioned this in my most anticipated Chinese dramas. It is rumored for April. I'm interested for 2 reasons for this. One, I love a good female lead who is starting from rock bottom and clawing her way back out. I have mentioned that with Straight from Hell. I'm going to mention it again in another rumored Chinese drama. That is one of my favorite storylines when we get to dramas. The female lead apparently is a counselor, and so that makes me interested if we're going to have some great dialogue or messaging with this. I also like the male lead actor. Wan Ziqi apparently stars in this as the male lead. The female lead is Zhao Yiran. I've only ever seen her in another Chinese drama that was Regeneration. The drama was okay, but I liked her in the drama. So I'm curious about their pairing and how they are going to act in this. This is a Mango TV drama, so it might be hard to find internationally if you don't use the Mango TV app. I don't because I don't like their subbing on there, but it might pop up somewhere else. Essentially, this drama is about a counselor who quits her job after some type of betrayal. It is unknown if that's a romantic betrayal or professional betrayal. And she essentially has to start over. So she starts her own clinic and meets various people through this clinic, including the male and second male lead. That's pretty much all we got for this drama. But I'm curious about the counselor setup of that. Next rumored Chinese drama for April is, and I hope I am not butchering this word, I honestly don't know how to pronounce it, Epoch of Miyu or the Epoch of Miyu. I don't know what that word is, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, the Epoch of Miyu. Again, I gravitate towards dramas where the female leads are starting over, either professionally or in love. And in this drama, she's doing both here as well. The female lead gets divorced and she starts again as a room attendant at a hotel. And then she meets the male lead, who is a general manager at that same hotel. And they start working together and obviously start a romantic relationship as well. This stars Wallace Chung and Zuzu. I like Wallace Chung. I've seen him in other dramas. He's an older actor. Zuzu, I've never seen her in a drama, but I know of her. She's been acting for a really long time. And then you might recognize Li Meng from the cast. She's a support actress in this. You would know her from The Double. She's the crazy princess in The Double. I love when you have older adult romances. The male and female lead in this are in their 40s and 50s. So you get an adult romance. Unclear if there's going to be like a second male lead in this. Obviously, she got divorced, so I'm sure that's going to be messy. But this is rumored for April. The posters look sexy. The trailer looked sexy. So we'll have to wait and see. Next up is, and this does not have an English title, so I'm going to try and pronounce the Mandarin title, Fang Wan Ba by Me. Rumored for April. I would be very surprised if this actually airs in April, because there is not much to know about this. This stars Shu Kai. And apparently, from what I've seen online, a lot of Shukai dramas are gearing up for premieres soon. There's like 4 of his dramas that I've seen posters and trailers for. So this one included, but he seems to have a lot coming out. This is made by Tencent, of course. It stars Shukai and Ding Young Dai. They are the 2 leads. It also stars Ansi Dang, who you might recognize from Melody of Golden Age. Unclear what her role is actually. I'm assuming she's the female lead, like romance-wise, but I don't know what her relationship with the male lead is, other than there's probably a romance. So this is marketed as a adventure thriller crime drama. And from what I can find on the internet, it's a 20-episode drama. It's supposedly set in the 1990s in a small town. You have a son and a father. Obviously, Shu Kai is the son, and then Ding Young Dai is the father. Apparently, the father is either a cop or a retired cop. From what I can tell, there's an old crime that resurfaces, but it's unclear what that is. They might have found a body or something. I think the female lead is somehow related to that old crime, but again, that's only from like one sentence I've found about it. But apparently there's a conflict between the father and son. I think Shukai is not a good guy. Like, he seems to have gotten into trouble, and that has put a rift between the father and son. And apparently, from what I can find, Shukai has done this thing he can't get out of. He's like gone too deep in the crime thing he's involved in. And having a father as a cop obviously causes a problem with that. But that is all I can really find about the plot. And that is me like piecing things together. MDL really does not have a clear synopsis on this. This is rumored for April, but I would be really surprised if it actually is going to air in April, because they're going to have to release a lot of things, including a better synopsis for this to air in April. But that is a rumor that I found for April. We'll have to wait and see. Last but certainly not least, this is one that basically got announced a day ago, 2 days ago maybe. I almost didn't catch it. This is a crime Chinese drama called Light to the Night. This stars Pan Yu-ming and Dylan Wong. Renmin is the female lead. This was not supposed to air in April, but Youku had to apparently bring it up from where they wanted to air it. Veil of Shadow was supposed to air in April, but due to one of the actresses having some problems with her agency, they can't air it anymore, apparently. So Youku has decided to bring Light to the Night out and air it in that slot. At least that's what I've heard. Basically, this should air, or it's rumored to air in the first week of April at some point. We'll see if that's true. This was filmed a long time ago, like 1.5 years to 2 years ago. It's been on the back burner on the shelf for a while. It's a crime drama. Pan Yu-ming is a veteran actor and is well known for his crime drama roles. Dylan Wong, I like him. I've seen him in a few roles. I'm curious about him in this role because this seems like a comedy, but also a thriller mystery. Unclear where Renmin comes into play here. Apparently, this is about a newly graduated officer, maybe just a newly graduated student. It's unclear if they are both cops or they are just investigating a crime. Who knows? But we have Dylan Wang, who is a newly graduated person who teams up with Pan Yu-ming, who, again, it's unclear if he's a cop or not, but they're investigating something. They team up and they investigate the disappearance of a father and a daughter. That's the crime they're investigating. And as they go deeper into the investigation, the more they uncover and the more trouble they get into. It's essentially what the drama's about. Apparently, that's supposed to air in the first week or so of April. We'll have to wait and see if that actually happens and if it's going to come to anywhere other than Youku. But that is all of the rumored Chinese dramas I have. We'll see if any of them actually air and what else airs in April. Last but certainly not least, older dramas I plan to start in April for podcast recordings or other things. I don't plan to watch anything for podcast recordings because as of right now, I'm not recording anything in April. Well, I am, but I've already watched the dramas for them, so I don't need to watch them again. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what I'll be watching, click and play on in April. I might use the opportunity to clear out my watch list in April. And then in May, I'm not planning on releasing podcast episodes. May is going to be my break. So that will also be a month that I plan to clear out my watch list. So we'll see what happens in the next 2 months, what I plan on watching and clicking play on and completing. And still have a lot to talk about, but I don't have anything I particularly plan to click play on in April. We'll see what I do. The goal is to clear stuff out and to keep watching things that I am liking. That's the main goal. And that is everything I want to talk about in my wrap up episode. Everything I completed in March, everything I'm looking forward to in April. There's a lot I'm looking forward to in April, which I'm excited for. Will I watch all of them in April? Probably not. We'll have to wait and see. But let me know in the comments what you are excited for. Did I introduce you to some dramas you hadn't heard of? I'm sure I did because some of them I was surprised about. But anyway, that is the end of this episode. That is me wrapping up March. Thank you for listening to another episode on the No Sleep for Dramas podcast. And let me know in the comments what you're excited about. I'm so glad to be back to recording an episode after taking a week off. This was fun. And I know you guys like this episode, so I, of course, am continuing to record them. See you in the next one. Bye. If you want to continue the conversation about dramas that were started in this episode, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Blue Sky under the username NoSleep4Dramas. That is no sleep, the number 4 dramas, just like in the title of this podcast. This podcast is also an expansion of my blog, so you can visit my blog at NoSleep4Dramas.com, the number 4dramas.com, and find multiple years of blog posts already available at your fingertips. All links are in the description of this episode. Finally, please give this podcast a like or a follow wherever you listen to the podcast. Leaving a comment or a review also helps a lot. We love hearing ideas and feedback from all of you. Share the podcast with your friends as well. Thank you for listening as always. This has been an episode of the No Sleep for Dramas podcast, and I'm your host, Caitlin. I will see you here next time, and I hope you get no sleep chasing the next episode, just like me. Good night.